All right, so tonight we're talking about think bigger, forget the farm, and door knock your way to success, right? So we're talking about tonight, maybe the whole traditional farm thing isn't your jam because you're like, frequent, repetitive. Amy, that's not me. Like, I can't be frequent and repetitive in anything that I do. Um, and the farm, it just is so like I can't do it. I can't walk the same streets month after month, week after week, and talk to the same people. Like I need new people. I need bigger. This is for you. Okay. This is where we could select like a whole side of town. We could select like a whole zip code, one of like a giant area. Like normally on our farm, I say, oh, don't go outside of like 400 homes max. Usually start with 100, earn your way to 400. And then over time, you can grow it to more, but 400 is really like the sweet spot. For this one, we're talking like thousands of homes is totally okay. So it could be a whole side of town, it could be the whole town, it could be a whole like general area of town. Like if if I was in Vacaville, um, and thinking like North Vacaville is like thousands of homes. But if I were doing it as a farm, I might choose like the orchard area or the um foothill area or whatever that is, right? So you break it down into smaller little micro neighborhoods versus
Uh,
this way you could be like, I'm going to take all of North Vacaville. Totally okay, right? So that's what we're talking about. The idea is to pick an area where you can show value and then we're going to hit the streets. So our learning objectives today, we're going to talk about selecting an area, pick a time to hit the streets, do your research, and then we'll go over some scripts that you can use while you're door knocking. Okay.
I was
First thing,
actually gonna
what?
pull my I was actually gonna pull up scripts because like I said, I was listening to your previous video, and so I was gonna go on to what is it, one university
One
or
university. Yep.
yep, and um print out or download the scripts.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Yeah, it's
So
always good if we have something in our hands. It makes us feel more confident, right? That's why we talk about learning scripts. It just gives you that confidence, those objection handlers. It just helps you to be able to approach it with a little bit more confidence. So we'll talk about some for this as well. Um, the goal here, keep in mind, the goal here is going to be 20 conversations per day that you go door knock. I'm going to recommend that you, if you're going to do this as a lead gen method, that you're door knocking a minimum of 3 days per week. Okay. If we have 20 conversations 3 times per week, that's 60 conversations per week. So if we're working 48 weeks of the year, notice I already took into account like holidays and vacations, 48 weeks per year, that's 2,880 conversations per year that you're having with people about real estate. If 1% of those conversations decided to buy or sell a home with you, that is 28 transactions for the year. Who would be happy with 28 transactions? Anybody?
sure, I'm the only one here. Me.
Adriana's here too. She's in
Oh,
silent
okay.
mode,
Okay,
right?
I don't see. Okay.
She's
Uh,
hiding.
because I don't have, here we go.
So
Put this,
28 transactions. If each transaction's worth, let's say $12,000, 28, I don't know what happens when I start talking, but I get stuffy. That's $336,000. If just 1% of these people that you start having conversations with decide to transact. So I would say that's a win. If you want to get out, hit the streets, you like activity, you like being out there, you like those face-to-face conversations, this could be your jam. It's a way to get out there. It's a way to lead generate. I think this is way better than picking up the phone. Like much rather go knock on doors than pick up the phone and dial numbers all day. So this
mhm.
could be a way to do that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select an area. Again, your goal is to pick a larger area than what you would choose for a farm. Okay. And we aren't so worried about the frequency or repetitiveness. We don't have to like go re-knock on these doors every month or 2 months or even once a quarter. But you could decide how you want to roll it. You could do it like once a quarter. You could just go and do, gosh, as long as I knock these doors once a year, I'm happy. And then next year I'll go back and repeat it once I hit the end, right? There's no wrong or right way to this. We're not doing it as a farm. Pick areas that you want to do business in, right? Or areas where there you want to have listings, or you may want to pick areas where there's a lot of tenants, right? Where they may want to buy homes of their own. So you can look at like areas of high non-owner occupancy. Title can help you do that. So there's lots of options there. And again, you may want to pick just a section of town. You may want to pick a zip code, or you may even want to pick like a whole town. Like if I was going to be in Winters, I would just do the whole town. I would set myself a plan of what I would do each week to get through that town by the end of the year. Okay. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to pick a time. Okay. You can decide that you're going to do this 5 days a week, maybe just 3 days a week. Right? Just decide how many days are going to work for you. You may start with like, you may go with like the Amy approach to a farm, which is, hey, if you have 400 homes, we're going to start with 100. And when we're consistent in those 100, then we're going to add another 100 for 200. And usually I say like once a quarter. So on this, you may be like, hey, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do it 1 day a week. I'm going to go door knock until I have 20 conversations 1 day a week. That way I can figure out approximately how long this is going to take me. I can figure out how many doors I have to knock to get 20 people to open them. Like then I'm going to have my conversion ratios a little bit better. So I'm only going to start with 1 day. And once I'm consistent in 1 day for like a month or 2 months or maybe even 3 months, then I'm going to go to 2 days. And I'm going to do that and earn the right to add a third day. So you could go about it that way too. There's no wrong or right answer to that. You could go gung ho and be like, hey, I'm door knocking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Or Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Or I'm going to start with just Wednesday. And I'm going to add from there. Okay. Each day. So you're going to pick your time or pick your days. You're going to pick your time. I would make sure you block a solid 3 hours for door knocking. Only because when we first hit the streets, we don't know how many doors we're going to have to knock in order to get 20 people to answer. And our goal is to have 20 conversations per day. Okay, so we want to make sure that we pick the days. Then we're going to pick the time of the day and we're going to put that on our calendar. So if our days are Wednesdays, and we're going to knock from 10, 11, 12, 1. 10 to 11.
Amy,
Yes, yes.
what do you feel about like the weekends? Because you're mentioning the weekdays, but what about the weekends? Do you
There
think
is nothing wrong with door knocking on a weekend.
okay, perfect.
There is no wrong or right answer. There's no wrong or right day. There's no wrong or right time. I would recommend morning over afternoon, and not because there's more people home in the morning, but you're more likely to go out there and get it done in the morning. Less things are going to get in your way and cause you to not go do it. So that's usually why we say the morning. But yeah, you could absolutely do it on the weekends. Yep. If you're going to do it on the weekends, I probably wouldn't start too early. Like I would probably start after 10 o'clock, between 10 and
Yes.
11 sometime. Just because people like to sleep in on the weekends and we don't want to wake people up.
I wouldn't be happy if someone knocked at on my door at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah. So just kind of be respectful of that. But other than that, weekends could be a great day. So make sure we block that time. So pick your days, pick your time, and then make sure you time block that on your calendar as a repeating event. So it's there every week for you to get out and do. Now, in addition to that, we want to do your research. So you're going to need to time block some time for preparation each day before you go knock. So, or the day before. If we're like, man, I'm going to knock on Saturday and Sunday this week, or I'm going to just start door knocking on Saturday, then either Saturday morning before you go start knocking at 11, we need to time block an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do our research. Or maybe on Friday evening, we need to do our research and be prepared so that we have something to take with us as we go door knock. So Each time we get ready to go door knock, we want to pull the active and sold listings for that neighborhood. And you probably even want to pull the under contract property. So those that are pending or contingent. If it's pending or contingent, I would call the agent to see if they got multiple offers in on the property. So you have those details as you go talk to people. And it's also a good idea to have a lender connection and make sure that you get the average like 30-year fixed rate for that day. And you may want like an average 30-year fixed conventional rate. You may want an average 30-year VA rate, and same thing with FHA, just so you kind of have that breakdown of what those different rates are. And I would make sure you update that every day that you go knock so that it's the current information. Obviously, if you're knocking Saturday and Sunday, the rates aren't going to change over the weekend. So whatever they were at on Friday when you connected with your mortgage person, that's what they're going to be for the weekend, because rates don't change over the weekend. We can't actually lock anybody in. Okay. So we're going to make sure that we have that information. So any active listings, we want to know what's on the market, what's it listed at, what are the details of that property, how long has it been on the market. We want to know those sold listings, when did they sell, how long were they on the market, what did they sell for. Usually in the MLS, you can pull up and see if there were multiple offers received. You can see if there was credits given. You can look at all those details in the MLS so that you have all that information. And then again, pull up those under contract listings, those contingents and pendings, and make sure, make some calls to those agents and just ask if they received multiple offers, if they entered into contract above asking, and then have that information with you. You may even want to like print up like a half sheet with those details on it so that you have something to hand or something to leave behind, okay, as you're door knocking. If it's something that you're leaving behind, you may want to consider having like a standard postcard that maybe you utilize that on the backside allows you to put like a label or print out the details of those active under contract, sold and mortgage rates. And then on the front, it may introduce yourself and let them know that you're like an area expert, right? Something to that effect. And then that way you've got it all covered. You can take those with you every time you go out to go door knocking. You may do like a postcard or like a business card of some sort, or even like a quarter page that introduces yourself. And then you could just print off this information each morning before you go door knock on like half sheets, cut them in half and then staple them to those. And then that way you don't lose cards if you can just staple or pull the ones that you didn't hand out off and then still reuse those cards again. So just some ideas to think about there. But you definitely, I would say, if you're going to spend your time door knocking, not only do we want to have conversations with the people that answer the doors, but we want to be able to leave something behind so they know that we were there and they know how to get in touch with somebody, if they want to buy or sell a house. The question, we'll cover that here in a minute. Any questions about any of this so far?
On the MLS, when we pull that up, where do we find that information?
Yeah, so it's when I'm done here, I will open up the MLS and I'll show you how to like pull the details for the area that you're going to go door knock.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So do your research. Then after you've done your research, you're going to go knock. Again, your goal is 20 conversations per day. One trick to get more answers is to ring the doorbell, wait 30 to 40 seconds, and then knock on the door. Okay, I always listen for motion to it. You may want to start because of the ring doorbells. You may want to start. I mean, they can usually see you anyways. It usually alerts them, but you may want to knock first. I hate the doorbell sound. So you may want to knock first. Then if you don't get an answer, then ring the doorbell. Totally up to you what order. But usually wait like 30 to 40 seconds. So I usually like count in my head like 1 potato, 2 potato, 3, right? And I'm listening for somebody walking to the door or motion on the inside before I give up. So just something to listen for. Sometimes in neighborhoods, especially if there's a bunch of older folks, sometimes it takes them longer to get to the doors. So when I first used to door knock, I'd go door knock, I'd wait till like 10 seconds and then I'd turn around and walk away. And then oftentimes I'd be like going down the stairs off the front porch or whatever. And then finally they would get to the door and open it. And I realized I needed to wait longer. So, but I would like start with a knock or start with a doorbell, wait kind of 30 seconds or so, and then do the other method, wait another 30 seconds, then head on to your next door. They don't answer. Okay. There's 4 approaches that you can utilize. You can utilize any approach that you want, but I'm going to talk about 4 specific approaches. One is you can talk about a sold listing in that neighborhood. One is you can support a new listing. You can talk about a listing that just went under contract. Or you can, if there's no recent activity, we can just talk about the market. Okay, so sold, new, under contract, or market activity. Those are the 4 things that we're going to talk about when we get into scripts, which is next. So, different scripts we have. Again, we have sold, no activity, new listings. And in this, if you have a listing in that neighborhood, or one of the ones that you're talking about was your listing, you need to make sure that you make that known, that they understand that that was your listing, because then that's going to help solidify you as the area expert. So, a script for, I don't have the right one here, but that's all right. I can read the screen. So a script for recently sold house. So if we pull up stats and there's a recently sold home, you could door knock, they answer, you say, hey, it's Amy. If we happen to know their name, which isn't that hard, you can pull title records as well for that neighborhood, then you know their name. Hey, are you Deborah? Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. I'm Amy with Realty One Group. Hey, I just want to let you know that another home just sold here in the neighborhood, right? And then we have that list of sold homes that we can hand them. The news is that they had a lot of activity and they got an offer in 3 days or 5 days, or they got 6 offers, right? So whatever it is, the good news is that there are still a lot of buyers looking, right? So if you know how many showings or how many offers, share that information, or just spin that story of the listing to make it seem like now's the time to list, right? So the news here is that they had a lot of activity and they got an offer in 5 days. The good news is that there are still a lot of buyers looking. Have you heard rumors of anyone else thinking about making a move? They're probably going to lie and be like, no, right? And then you're going to be like, oh, well, that's our problem. There's a real lack of inventory in the market. In the next 2 years, have you ever thought about making a move? Oh, well, yeah, we were thinking about like in the next 2 years, that's a long time. We were kind of thinking about moving, or they're going to say, oh, no, we're going to live here forever, right? If they say yes, then you're going to say, well, if you were to move, where would you go? Right? Start picking their brains. Do you mind if I check back in with you? Right? And you may say, do you mind if I check back in with you just in 6 months just to see where you're at? Sure. Perfect. What's a good number to reach you at? What's a good email? And then when should I check back in with you? Right? So we can ask them at the end. So do you mind if I check back in with you? Great. What's a good number to reach you at? What's a good email? And when do you think would be the best time to check back in? Right now we've captured, not only did we already have their name, but now we've got their phone number, we've got their email, and we've gotten permission to reach back out to them. Okay, I realize there's a lot of typos in the script as I'm reading through it, so I apologize for that in advance. There's probably more. So anyways, there's super simple sold script, right? Hey, it's Amy. Another home just sold here in the neighborhood. The news is that they had a lot of activity and got an offer in 5 days. But the good news is that there's still a lot of buyers looking, right? Have you heard any rumors of anybody else thinking about making a move? Well, that's really our problem, right? Lack of inventory. In the next 2 years, have you ever thought about making a move? If you were, where do you think you would move to? Okay. Any questions about the sold script? All right. The next one would be our no activity script. No activity script. Hey, it's Amy. Here's the latest sales in the neighborhood. The highest recent sale was blank. Have you heard any rumors of anybody else thinking about making a move? Right? We're not here to be their best friends. We're not here to have a 30-minute conversation. We don't want to inconvenience them by keeping them at the door too long. So it's just, hey, here are the latest sales here in your neighborhood. The highest recent sale was blank. Have you heard of rumors of anyone else thinking about making a move? All right. The next one. If there's new listings, hey, it's Amy. Your neighbor's home just hit the market. Here's the information. By the way, have you heard rumors of anyone else thinking about making a move or know anybody that wants to move to the neighborhood? It doesn't say that, but I would add that in. Right? Your neighbor's home just hit the market. Here's the information. I've got the details on their neighbor's home. By the way, have you heard any rumors of anybody else thinking about making a move? And then, of course, if they say yes, then you could say, perfect. Can I get their name? Do you happen to have any contact information for them, or which house do they live in? Right? So that you can go talk to them as well if they say yes. All right. So there's your 3 scripts. We've got sold. We've got no activity or under contract, could be under the same. We've got new listings. Your no activity, if there's not been anything in there, I would, you could also say, hey, here's the latest stats, right? Or you could go into the, like, you know, in the mortgage rates or whatever. So you can replace these and kind of tweak them a little bit with mortgage rates or with under contract properties or anything. These are just kind of giving you some conversation starters. So that's the goal. The goal is you're going to take that, you're going to run with it, you're going to go door knock some doors today until you have 20 conversations. You're going to door knock more different doors tomorrow. Every day of the year, you're probably knocking on different doors. We do need to make sure, though, that we have a follow-up plan in place. And this is going to fall right in line with every other lead gen method that we talk about. We need to get them, once we've had a conversation with them, they've given us permission to check back in with them. We want to put them on that drip campaign. We want to set a task reminder to check in with them when they told us to check in with them. And in the meantime, we want to set them up on a market watch. So they're getting information for their neighborhood about what's going on. We want to do that 36 plus to convert them into clients. So we're going to send them a newsletter, a market update. We're going to call them once a quarter. Right? We're going to interact with them, invite them to events, drop something off on their door. They are becoming part of our database. And in order to help them want to transact with us instead of somebody else, we want to make sure that we're interacting with them on a regular basis, not just when they told us to check back in with them. All right. Any questions about door knocking your way to success?
I do have a question as far as the drip campaign.
Yeah.
I don't recall how to do that, set it up.
Yes. That is a fabulous question. There is a video where I walk you through that. However, we're getting ready to roll over to Follow Up Boss. So we have one suite at our disposal, which is decent. It has the ability to set up like newsletters and stuff, but it's kind of cumbersome to use. It's better than not using anything though. However, we're getting ready to roll out Follow Up Boss, and Follow Up Boss, I think, is going to be an easier, more user-friendly method of being able to drip on them at a regular interval and setting reminders to follow up with them. So,
sorry,
say it
do
again?
you know when the launch date is for that?
I will see if I can track it down. I have heard mixed answers on that, but I will check with Ed to see if I can get an answer on it.
Okay.
But let's see here. Let me share my other screen. Probably just shared this one. All right.
Give me one sec. Okay, my cat likes to knock on the door.
Oh, nice.
Be
All
like,
right. So, the one suite is we have one, or not one suite, Real Scout. We have access to or Real Scout through our one login. This is what I like using for the neighborhood updates. To set those up, you would just hit add client or alert. You could create a new contact or select an existing contact. Let's select existing because I'm sure I'm in here. All right. You can select listing alert, which is going to send them new listings, or market activity alert. Really what you're looking for here, if it's somebody that owns a home or is thinking about it, we want it in the market activity alert. And then what I would do is come down here where it says draw custom market shape. And I would click on that, which is going to open up a map. And here you could plug in like an address. Let's see, we're going to go. All right. Oops. All right, we're going to plug in Vacaville, California. I'm going to zoom in to wherever that was that you were door knocking. You're going to hit this red button here towards the bottom of the window that says clear shape. And then I'm going to hit, once I'm zoomed in to where that neighborhood is, where they live, like maybe it's here in this area, I would hit draw. And I would go, we want this one. I don't want that street for some reason. And you can just click and make it go around their neighborhood. Just like that. And then I'm not going to put a minimum or maximum. And I'm going to hit preview market activity. Once you've drawn that in there. And then what it does is it's going to say, hey, how often do you want to send it? So usually I want to send it monthly. I can hit send now, or it'll be sent in 1 month. And then you hit, oh, you can also come back and be like, hey, we just want the last 30 days. All right, then we're going to hit save market alert to clients. And the nice thing is that if you're not door knocking in one neighborhood in one day, we could come in here, we could add multiple clients into this and add them all to this at the same time. You can add them all at once. So you could do multiple clients, but then we've created that market alert for that client. So then let's see here. Here's what that email is going to look like. They're going to start getting an email that looks like this once a month. It's branded to you. It looks nice. They can say, hey, view market activity. Then that'll take them. It may not take me to the right one because I'm logged in as an agent. There's that search. It shows them. If they scroll down, it tells them how many active buyers, buyer interactions. It'll tell them what listings are active. Recently sold. So this is a great thing just to get people on a monthly basis where they can get this and they can click on this information. They can set up their own searches. They can send you send you messages through here. So it's a great way to stay in contact with people without you having to do anything. We just set it and forget it. And then the cool thing is, then we go back to my dashboard here in Real Scout. So if you set those people up that way, it'll tell you how many active clients this week, how many homes were viewed today, how many emails were open. Here it shows any recent client conversations that sent me messages. It's going to tell you, I viewed the market alert dashboard for the custom polygon. Like this person opened an email. This person opened an email for the second time. This person opened an email. So, right. So it shows you this person rejected my email. How rude. Right? So it's got all the history in there, so you can log in and see who's marking on things. So super easy there. So there you go. That's Real Scout. So that's one way to set up property alerts. One
Once,
sweet. Oh, go ahead.
when someone rejects you, do you go ahead and just take them out or do you leave them?
It depends on whether they unsubscribed. It could have been that the email was rejected. It looks
Oh,
like maybe the email's wrong. So I don't
oh,
know if they actually rejected it or if they unsubscribed.
got you.
It's a good question. I don't know. OneSuite we'll cover on another day how to set up. You can set up drip campaigns in here, but it's a little tricky. The setting up the drip campaigns easy, just getting them assigned a little more difficult. I have to do a refresher course to show you how to do it because I don't do that on a regular basis. But I'll show you how to dig in there and set that up because it is our free service and it does have the ability to be able to do that. All right. And then we have berries, and I told you I'd show you how to find the listings. So I would go into searches and I would go interactive map. And then let's say that I was going to come over here and door knock this Stonegate neighborhood. I was today or this week is my Stonegate week. I'm going to, oh, sorry. I just breezed through that. All right. So if your map isn't here, mine centers in on Vacaville, but if it doesn't, you can just plug in. Like if I were going to go, in fact, let's pick a different street. Let's pick that Dennis Drive, Vacaville. So if I just type that into this search bar here, it's going to recenter my map on that address. So if that's the neighborhood that I'm going to door knock this week, I could just plug in one of the streets in those areas, and then I would hit remove marker, or I could just X out, it would leave the marker there. And then I want to zoom out just a little bit so that I can see that area. So if my area that I was going to start door knocking was maybe this area here, then what I would do is I go draw. I'm going to click the little polygon with the little dots and the circles, which is going to give me that same thing that I had in Real Scout, where I can just click the corners when I want it to turn to encompass the area that I'm going to go door knock because I want it to be pretty local. Then I'm going to come over here to search criteria. And I'm going to say, hey, I want coming soon active. I want our under contracts, and I want properties that have closed in the last, oh, this is May. So probably like since April 1st. Okay. And then I'm going to close that. So now it's only pulling listings inside of that area that I drew, and it's pulling the active, the contingents, the pendings, and the solds for the last 30 days. So anything that's active, anything that's under contract, and anything that's sold since April 1st. So then what I like to do next is I like to come over here to displays, and I like to go to the one line grid because it's easier to look at the listings that way than it is on the map. But before I do that, if you decided that, man, there's only 2 there, I want more than 2 listings, we could hit draw again, and we could expand this. Like we could be like, hey, well, I want this Granada area here. I'm going to include this section of the map too. Now I've got 2 drawings on there, and it's pulling listings from both those drawing areas. Okay, so we can add areas if we want more listings to highlight. But even then, 1 sold listing and 1 active or under contract is probably sufficient. But there we've got a couple to choose from. So now I'm going to go displays. Then I'm going to go one line grid. That's going to open up a different way to view the listings. It's going to make it a little easier. So here we've got all the details on there. So if I were going to highlight this Cordoba one, because I'm door knocking that side and I want to talk about a sold listing, I could talk about this Cordoba property. And here, when I look at the sales price, it'll tell me what it was listed for, and it tells me what it sold for. So I know it went over asking. It sold in 18 days, so it went pretty quick. And then if you scroll down here to this section right here, it'll tell you what kind of loan they had. It'll tell you if there was any compensate or credits given back to the buyer. Okay, it'll tell you what kind of loan. So you've got that. And this also usually will tell you, oh, right here it says multiple offers received. Oh, here we go. 4 offers received. And there was a credit of $15,459 towards closing costs. So that's all right here underneath the buyer's agent's name. So that's where you're going to find those details. So that way you could highlight, oh yeah, the so-and-so just sold. It had 4 offers on it, which means we've got buyers in the area looking to move. Now is a great time to sell, right? So that helps us to spin the story of this listing. That makes sense, Shauna?
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, if you want to go back, then we could hit back to list. And then just so you know, once you're in this view, you could toggle back, you could hit over here, display grid. If we go back to map view, that's going to take us back to that map, or we could have hit revise criteria as well, and it would take us back to the map with the revised criteria. So there's how you do it. If you don't want one of your little drawn areas, we just hit the edit button, and these are going to be in order that you did them. So that's the second one, and that would be the first one. Those would remove it, and it's going to pull up all the listings again. So you can kind of play and mess with that. But I do like that interactive map search because it does allow you to really be locally focused on a specific area.
Great.
The other thing that you could do is you could highlight, like if I was going to go door knock this area, this yellow dot, that's a coming soon. So that might be something that you'd want to highlight. It just took my coming soon away. How rude. Sometimes this map has problems. We're just going to go like this. Hold on. Go bump. I don't know what happened to my coming soon. Let's see if it shows up again. It may not have been there in the first place. Oh, there we go. Coming soon. So talking about a coming soon listing may be a good place to start, right? Like, oh, hey, by the way, I just wanted to come and let you know that there's a house getting ready to come on the market. Here's the details for that property because we have that coming soon property. Okay, so we could talk about that as well. All right, fabulous. Any other questions before we wrap up for today?
Actually, this one is for MLS, like in the yellow area.
Yeah.
Now they don't allow coming soon, correct?
They do not.
Okay.
It is against their rules.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
No, because if say I have, like a potential buyer, I would be able to look that up and then say, hey, this will be coming up. We can hit it as soon as it hits the market. Or would you be able to contact that agent prior to it hitting the market?
So in the berry service area, yes, you can absolutely, and ask them if you can possibly get in early. In Metro List, it's not going to show up as a coming soon. They're not supposed to be advertised as coming soon. Once you start marketing to the public in the Metro List service area, it's supposed to be in the MLS and available to show within 24 hours.
Right.
So not so much. But if you ever did come across one that's breaking the rules, because people do that, you absolutely can reach out to that agent and be like, hey, I've got a buyer. They've been looking for a house in the specific neighborhood. I saw that it looks like you've got one coming, or I saw your sign in the yard. Like, what's the story on that? And can we get in and see it?
All right, great.
So people do break rules. Don't be a rule breaker. No.
No, I don't
Any
want
other questions?
Nope.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for joining me this evening. Hopefully you got some good ideas. Hopefully you feel a little bit more confident about knocking on some doors and that you know how to navigate the MLS a little bit better now.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a fabulous evening and we'll see you next week.
All right. You too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.